As we've mentioned, we are anticipating a number of key hearings this week in the Mueller investigation, including but not limited to Paul Manafort's second sentencing. Trump's former campaign chairman could have 10 more years added to his current sentence of 47 months, minus 9 months for time already served. Earlier today, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the president will decide when he's ready whether or not to pardon Manafort for his crimes. Meanwhile, former CIA Director John Brennan said today there's no doubt in his mind that Trump will pardon Manafort.
Personally, I don't have any doubt that Mr. Trump is going to pardon Paul Manafort at some point. The question is when. But then if he's also convicted of state charges, Donald Trump is not going to be able to pardon him for that.
With us this evening to talk about it, Rick Wilson, a veteran Republican strategist whose views about the president are best expressed by the title of his book, Everything Trump Touches Dies, recently released with new material in paperback, including an even higher death toll. Rick, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for coming on. I noted last week in real time the list of physical ailments that Manafort's lawyers made clear that the court hear them out on. Right. Everything, to my hearing, but moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. And I'm wondering if they were
the Jimmy leg
setting up the predicate for a humanitarian pardon, that this man whose health is falling apart, he's been in protective custody in jail. Do you consider it, you, Rick Wilson, consider it an article of faith that Manafort gets pardoned?
Yeah, I don't actually, and I'll tell you two reasons, Brian. One is, once he's pardoned, he no longer has the Fifth Amendment protection to not incriminate himself any longer. He can be called before Congress. He can be called before state courts. This guy is facing more jeopardy if he's out than he's in. The other problem is, I think, when Paul Manafort looks at the two big wedges he's caught between. On the one hand, he doesn't want to spend his life in prison. On the other hand, if he's out, he still owes Oleg Deripaska $17 million or something to that effect. And those guys are more likely to throw him through a window than issue him a pardon. So it's a mixed bag for Paul Manafort, no matter how he plays it. But I don't know that Trump also, looks at Manafort. He may look at Manafort as a tough guy who's, held himself together so far. But on the other hand, Trump is innately disloyal to everyone around him, even people who have, willingly gone to jail for him.
What's the upside if you're Manafort and his team in not apologizing to the court, showing remorse?
Well, look, I think that was definitely a strategic play on their part. Knowing two things. One, that this judge has a reputation for going very easy on white-collar criminals, so they didn't need to burn that chit and put themselves back behind the eight ball, in any way where Trump could have interpreted it as, oh, well, there's Paul selling me out. Because Manafort knows that the president is vengeful among many other terrible characteristics. And so I think you're going to end up with a situation where, Manafort didn't think he needed to do it with this judge and thought it might have been a risk factor for any potential pardon, which I still think is a long shot for him.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.